أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters. Al-Shafi'i's attitude towards tasawwuf was strict as with kalam, and he both praised and denigrated its abuse at the hands of its corruptors. In criticism of the latter he said, "No one becomes a Sufi in the morning except he ends up a dolt by noon." While on the other hand, he declared in his diwan, "Be at the same time of faqih and Sufi." In Mecca, al-Shafi'i was the student of Fudail ibn Iyad. Imam al-Nawawi in his Bustan al-Arifin, al-Zuhd wa Tasawwuf, the garden of the Gnostics, in asceticism and Tasawwuf narrated from al-Shafi'i the saying, "Only the sincere one, al-Mukhlis, can recognize self-display, al-Riya." Al-Nawawi comments, "This means that it is impossible to know the reality of self-display and see its hidden shades except for one who resolutely seeks arada, sincerity. Such a one strives for a long time, searching, meditating, examining in length within himself until he knows or knows something of what self-display is. This does not happen for everyone. Indeed, this happens only with special ones, al-Khawwas. But for a given individual to claim that he knows what self-display is, this is real ignorance on his part." Al-Shafi'i deferred primacy in the foundations of fiqh to Imam Abu Hanifa with his famous statement, "People are all the children of Abu Hanifa in fiqh." Ibn Hajar al-Haytami mentioned in the 35th chapter of his book on Imam Abu Hanifa entitled Al-Khayrat al-Hisan, when Imam al-Shafi'i was in Baghdad, he would visit the grave of Imam Abu Hanifa, greet him, and then ask Allah for the fulfillment of his need through his means. Two schools of legal thought or madhahib are actually attributed to al-Shafi'i, englobing his writings and legal opinions, fatawa. These two schools are known in the terminology of jurists as the old al-Qadim and the new al-Jadid, corresponding respectively to his state in Iraq and Egypt. The most prominent transmitters of the new among al-Shafi'i students are al-Buwaiti, al-Muzani, al-Rabi' al-Muradi, al-Bulqini, in Kitab al-Umm, the mother book. The most prominent transmitters of the old are Ahmad ibn Hanbal, al-Karabisi, al-Za'farani, and Abu Thawr in Kitab al-Hujjah, book of the proof. What is presently known as the Shafi'i's position refers to the new except in approximately 22 questions in which Shafi'i's scholars and muftis have retained the positions of the old. As-Subki related that the Shafi'i scholars considered al-Rabi''s narration from al-Shafi'i sounded from the viewpoint of transmission, while they considered al-Muzani's sounder from the viewpoint of fiqh, although both were established hadith masters. Al-Shafi'i said to al-Rabi', "How I love you," and another time, "O al-Rabi', if I could feed you the science, I would feed it to you." Al-Qaffal al-Shashi in his Fatawa relates that al-Rabi' was slow in his understanding and that al-Shafi'i once repeated an explanation 40 times for him in a gathering. Yet he did not understand and then got up and left in embarrassment. Later, al-Shafi'i called him in private and resumed explaining it to him until he understood. This shows the accuracy of Ibn Rahuya's statement, "I consider the best part of me the time when I fully understand al-Shafi'i's discourse." Al-Shafi'i took the verse, "Or if you have touched women," literally and considered that contact between the sexes, even accidental, nullified ablution. This is also the position of Ibn Mas'ud, Ibn Umar, al-Sha'bi, al-Nakha'i, al-Zuhri, and al-Awza'i, which is confirmed by Ibn Umar's report. Whoever kisses or touches his wife with his hand must renew his wudu. It is authentic and related in numerous places, including Malik's Muwatta. Al-Shafi'i said, something similar has reached us from Ibn Mas'ud. They all read the above verse literally without interpreting touch to mean sexual intercourse, as do the Hanafis, or touch with pleasure, as do the Malikis. A major contribution of al-Shafi'i in the foundations of the law was his division of innovation, al-bid'ah, into good and bad on the basis of Umar's words about the Tarawih, or congregational supererogatory night prayers in the month of Ramadan. What a fine innovation this is. Harmala narrated that al-Shafi'i concluded, therefore whatever innovation conforms to the Sunnah is approved, Mahmud, and whatever opposes it is abominable, Madhmum. Agreement formed in the four schools around his division is illustrated by the endorsement of some major later authorities in each school. Among the Hanafis, Ibn al-Abidin, al-Turkumani, and al-Tahanawi. Among the Malikis, al-Turtushi, Ibn al-Hajj, and al-Shatibi. Consensus among the Shafi'is and reluctant acceptance among later Hanbalis, who altered al-Shafi'i's terminology to read lexical innovation, bid'ah al-lughawiyya, and legal innovation, bid'ah al-shar'iyya, respectively, although inaccurately matching Shafi'i's approved and abominable. Among al-Shafi'i's other notable positions, al-Muzani said, I never saw any of the scholars make something obligatory on behalf of the Prophet as much as al-Shafi'i in his books. And this was due to his high remembrance of the Prophet. He said in the old school, supplication ends with the invocation of blessings on the Prophet, and its end is but by means of it. Al-Karabisi said, I heard al-Shafi'i say that he disliked for someone to say the Messenger, al-Rasul, but that he should say Allah's Messenger, Rasulullah, out of veneration, ta'zim for him. Among al-Shafi'i's other sayings, the study of hadith is better than supererogatory prayer, and the pursuit of knowledge is better than supererogatory prayer. Ibn Abdul Barr in Kitab al-Ilm listed the many hadiths of the Prophet on the superior merit of knowledge. However, al-Shafi'i, but this saying meant the essence and purpose of knowledge, not knowledge for its own sake, which leads to satanic pride. The latter is widely available, while true knowledge is the knowledge that leads to godliness, taqwa. This is confirmed by al-Shafi'i's saying, knowledge is what benefits, knowledge is not what one has memorized. This is a corrective for those content to define knowledge as the knowledge of the proof, ma'rifatul dalil. He gives wisdom to whomever he will, and whoever receives wisdom receives immense good. You, the scholars of hadith, are the pharmacists, but we, the jurists, are the physicians. This was explained by Ali al-Qari in his book Mu'taqad Abi Hanifa al-Imam. The early scholars said, the hadith scholar without knowledge of fiqh is like a seller of drugs who is no physician. He has them, but he does not know what to do with them. And the fiqh scholar without knowledge of hadith is like a physician without drugs. He knows what constitutes a remedy, but does not dispose of it. Malik was asked about kalam and the science of oneness, tawheed, and he said, it is inconceivable that the Prophet should teach his community hygiene and not teach them about oneness. And oneness is exactly what the Prophet said. I was ordered to fight people until they say there is no God but Allah. So whatever makes blood and property untouchable, that is the reality of oneness, حقيقة التوحيد. This is a proof from the Salaf against those who, in later times, innovated subdivisions for Tawheed or legislated that their own understanding of Allah's attributes was a precondition for the declaration of oneness. Al-Halimi said, in this hadith, there is explicit proof that declaration, La ilaha illallah, suffices to extirpate oneself from all the different kinds of disbelief in Allah Almighty. Satiation weighs down the body, hardens the heart, does away with sagacity, brings on sleep, and weakens one from worship. This is similar to the definition of tasawwuf as hunger, al-ju', given by some of the early masters, who acquired hunger as a permanent attribute and were called hungerers, ju'iyyun. A notable example is Al-Qasim bin Uthman al-Abdi al-Dimashqi al-Ju'i, whom al-Dhahabi describes as the Imam, the exemplar, the Wali, the Muhaddith, the Shaykh of the Sufis, and the friend of Ahmad ibn al-Hawari. I never swore by Allah, neither truthfully nor deceptively. This is similar to the saying of the Sufi master Sahal at-Tusturi, narrated by al-Dhahabi. Among the manners of the truthful saints, as-Siddiqeen, is that they never swear by Allah, nor commit backbiting, nor does backbiting take place around them, nor do they eat to satiation. If they promise, they are true to their word, and they never speak in jest. Al-Buwaiti asked, should I pray behind the Rafidi? al-Shafi'i said, do not pray behind the Rafidi, nor behind the Qadari, nor behind the Murji'i. Buwaiti said, define them for us. He replied, whoever says belief consists only in speech is a Murji'i, and whoever says Abu Bakr and Umar are not Imams is a Rafidi, and whoever attributes destiny to himself is a Qadari. Abu Hatim narrated from Harmala that al-Shafi'i said, the caliphs, al-Khulafa, are five: Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, and Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. In his diwan, he named them leaders of their people, by whose guidance one obtains guidance, and declaimed of the family of the Prophet. The family of the Prophet are my intermediary to him, wasilat. Through them I hope to be given my record with the right hand. And, O family of Allah's Messenger, to love you is an obligation which Allah ordained and revealed in the Quran. It is enough proof of your immense glory that whoever invokes not blessings upon you, his prayer is invalid. Ibn Hajar said that the first to write a biography of al-Shafi'i was Dawud al-Zahiri. An-Nawawi in Tahdhib al-Asma'i wal-Lughat mentioned that the best biography of al-Shafi'i was al-Bayhaqi's for its sound chains of transmission. Ibn Hajar summarized it and added to it all al-Shafi'i's Musnad in his Tawali al-Ta'sis fi Ma'ali ibn Idris. In the introduction of his compendium of Shafi'i fiqh entitled Al-Majmu', An-Nawawi mentions that al-Shafi'i used a walking stick, for which he was asked, why do you carry a stick when you are neither old nor ailing? He replied, to remember I am only a traveler in this world.